Peace, everybody. This Medicine Man once again. I wanted to elaborate with y'all for a moment about roots because it seems like a lot of people don't have the understanding as to what is roots. What does roots mean? When you say in your family you have family roots, you say as an African American, black person, melanated person, whatever label you choose to use, that you have roots and that you're connected to your roots. But from a spiritual perspective, what is roots? What is roots from a spiritual perspective? What does it mean to be working your roots? So let's take a look at that for a second. Okay, let's go and look at when we're not even going to pretty much focus too much right now on us. The African Americans, whatever you want to call it, or even white people. Europeans have roots. You know what I mean? Everybody got roots. Australians have roots. Canadians have roots. Everybody has roots. What is being done today is a misunderstanding. People take spiritual cultures and they take these spiritual cultures and they form some kind of monopoly, mental monopoly in their own minds that one spiritual culture is greater than the other. And when people are seeking, it confuses the seekers, the people that's seeking spirituality, because it's just human nature for people to say, well, I'm going to seek the spirituality that's the powerfulest. So they say, well, Haitian Voodoo or Palo Mayombe is the most powerful spiritual system on the planet. If it's being projected out there mentally that it is, then people will naturally pursue those paths, right? Exactly. The issue with that is that no spiritual system has power within itself. The power generates from how the person practices and executes the spiritual system in their life is what determines the level of power that person can have. So when it comes to roots and working your roots, let's go back to your family. If your mother is from the DR, your father's from the DR, you would practice something like Sansi, right? Like Sansi, 21 divisions or whatever. That's your roots. And let me explain why it's your roots. If you're from Puerto Rico or any one of the Spanish places where Sansi and 21 division is prominent, those are your roots. Because when you were raised up, when you were coming up as a kid, this was the spiritual system that was prominent and most dominant in your community. You see, all about what was dominant in your community at any given particular time. So now, as an African American, me being raised up in the South and you being raised up in the South or the North, East or the West, being African Americans, our greatest exposure to spirituality is any kind of African-based spirituality, of course, is roots. Working hoodoo, working voodoo. You see? So we have a natural inclination towards that. So now, when we look at other spiritual cultures around us, because we talk about our roots, hoodoo is, yeah, our roots, but by the same token, voodoo is our roots. Palo Mayombe is our roots. We have the influx of people into America. We had Congolese, Bantu people, Central African people that were brought into Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolinas. So to say that the spiritual cultures that evolved in the South is not similar or didn't come from the same people or similar ethnic groups that originated in Cuba, the DR, and Africa, it doesn't make any sense because it's the same peoples. You see, it's the same peoples. I had a conversation about hoodoo and palo, hoodoo and palo, and that conversation went like this. It's like people say that hoodoo is separate from Palo Mayombe. Okay? So I'm going to say that how could hoodoo be separate from Palo Mayombe when the same originating elements that originated Paulo Mayambe helped to coordinate and originate the elements of hoodoo, root working. If anybody do their real research, they'll see that the origin of the mojo bags, and when they look at the origins of the inganga, the prenda, they would see similarities. There's similarities even in the readings. When you find in the Geechee Gullah culture, there's a West African elements. I'm sure they are. Absolutely I love my West African origins. I love my West African peoples. I love my West African culture. But there's other aspects of the cultures that we don't recognize. And we're being led away from recognizing it because people don't want you to know that you got the same thing that they have. It's just in a different context. You see? So I read online about somebody talking about hoodoo and saying that African Americans don't understand nothing about Paulo Mayambe and things of that nature in reference to hoodoo. But when you look at hoodoo, root working, is all working with the earth. Now we want to talk about Paulo. Paulo is working with sticks. We work with the earth when we work our roots. So when we look at the deeper aspects of it, you working with the same elements. And so when somebody say that this is different from this is all African science. And when we do the research and the history and study African science and we go back, we start to see similar elements, similar principles all over the continent through various ethnic groups of people. We see the underlying factors of spirituality existing on all of them. There's a common concept about man, woman, the sun, the moon, the stars, the oceans, and there are spirits that relate to all of those areas and things. That's a common blueprint for African spirituality. You see? So when you displace African people and bring them over here, when you displace African people and bring them over here, what happens is they bring those same concepts and principles with them. So when we start looking at the earth, we're going to deal with the earth in the same perspectives that we dealt with them in Africa. We're just going to adapt those principles to our current situations. You see, and this is where adaptation comes in, where we adapt to our environment. So in Africa, whereas in certain specific rituals, it was mandatory to use, let's say, a crocodile head in the ritual. Here, in the swamps of Florida, they would use crocodiles all throughout that area because crocodiles were prominent. But then in other areas in Georgia, the crocodiles were substituted for turtles because turtles were more common animals in that area. You see? So, and for that reason, hold on one second. Levine the Trap. Levine, do me a favor when we get offline. When I get offline, just give me a call. Just give me a call. I'm right here. I'm right here today. Give me a call. If you don't have my number, I don't want to blast my number like that. But if you don't have my number, email me at medicinemale21@gmail. Just email me and I'll give you a call after this. Okay? Yeah, the whole thing about even dealing with, hold on. It says, Austin Morris says, there has no structure, but it's so embedded in our way of life. Yeah, of course. See, root working is cultural. So being that it's cultural, it's like the way that you live is magical. You see? Like when we look at hip hop music, we talk so much trash about the rappers and hip hop music, but we see hip hop rappers being so spiritual. You see what I'm saying? Tupac is technically an ancestor right now, and that's because of the level of influence that he has. His music was his magic. Tupac didn't have to light candles. Tupac didn't have to do rituals. Tupac didn't have to conduct ceremonies to access his power, his ancestral power. He did it through music. You see? That was his spiritual tool. That was his spiritual pot. That was his, you know what I mean? His talisman was his music, was his microphone. And when he rapped through that, he projected his sound. His thoughts were transmuted into sound. And when he rapped through the mic, it magnifies everything through your speakers and it goes out into the universe. And this is how he worked this magic. Speaking those things that would touch people's soul. Just like a spiritualist would do the work, the spiritual work that would touch your soul, either cleanse your soul or make your soul prosperous. You see? So touching a person's soul can be done from many different aspects, as we see within our culture. We have just disconnected ourselves from our own roots. You see, we disconnected ourselves because we're looking in other places. We're looking at other places for explanations. But when you get to those places, you find out, man, hey, you're already doing this. You're already doing it. You just need to magnify it and you need to perfect it and make it spiritual. Like dancing, for example. You know, in our culture, we have some of the dopest dancers, like in the world. You know what I mean? You can go on certain street corners and you'll see people break dancing and doing all of this stuff and beatboxing and break dancing. You know what I mean? Like similar dance because it's in. So when you see the young girls over here start twerking, and you look at the African dancers and the all-woman societies over there, how they dance at their ceremonies and religious observances, what you see is a genetic pattern that's being done in Africa that's still being done here in the way that they move. See, we get caught up in the externals. Oh, look at this, look at that. The way that they move is a spiritual movement. The way that they move is a spiritual movement that stirs energy around them, making themselves a little small mini vortex. So when you dance and are moving around, what you're doing, you're stirring the energies that's in your immediate circumference. All the energies that's around you. Like when you stick your arm out, your energy can stretch out just as far as your arms stretch out. So it can stretch out just as far as your arms stretch out. So when you dance and you're stirring up the energy and you become a vortex. That's why in Africa, people spin in circles while they dance. Give me a second, I need some water. Yeah, that's why in Africa, people spin in circles when they dance. It's to stir the energy. So when you're dancing and dancing and dancing, and you're stirring your energy by turning to the right, you're stirring that vortex to the right. Now, you have to understand what happens when you stir energy to the right, or what happens when you stir energy to the left. See, those concepts were things that African people already knew about. Those are things we already knew about. So when people started dancing and going to states of trance and turning to the right, they were doing a particular thing. They will be chanting and reciting particular things as they're going through the whole. It's a process. And this is why I said a few weeks ago that when it comes to trance work, I know people love yoga. Yoga's cool. I know people love all kind of meditation things. That's cool. You can meditate like this, meditate like that, meditate with your head, standing on one leg. But in Africa, from our people, our ancestors, the way that we reached the state of trance was through dance. That was the most prominent way that we reached states of trance. Okay? We didn't sit down and all of that there to go into states of trance. That just wasn't us. That was other black people, the Dravidians down in India, the Harappo Daro civilization. Those people definitely used those mantric, and this is where we get the yoga and mantra and stuff like that. Those people developed that culture. They are black. Don't get it wrong. They are black. They're melanated people, but that's practice originated through their ancestral lineages. Now, many of us, some of us have a little, and we're going to get to the bit where we all black. Oh, okay, I understand. You can practice it. if it works for you. Me, I'm connected to the cultural context that comes from Africa, and the ones our ancestors directly brought over here. Not nothing I have to go and find out about. They directly brought that here. So when it comes to reaching trance states and mediumistic states of trance, all you gotta do is turn on some music and start moving. You know what I mean? And you'll reach a state of trance. Now the point is what you do with all of that. You know what I mean? That's another story. What you do with it, how to channel it. You know, that's the whole point. You have to learn how to channel that energy. Once you raise it, and this is what they were talking about, raising the kundalini. You know, raising the kundala. About the serpent on in the tree in the book of Genesis. How that serpent was wrapped around that tree of life, the tree of man, meaning human. How that tree, the tree, the serpent wrapper coiled around the tree, coiled around the caduceus, the staff, the medical staff that you see on the hospital EMS, staff of Tahuti. You know, that stuff is wrapped around. It's talking about that energy within that raw force, that chi, that spiritual force, that ori, that sombra, wanga, whatever they, you know, in all our African cultures, we all had different names for that particular energy force. You see, we all had different names, but it was all of those names actually describe the same phenomenon. And see, this is what Roots is about. Roots is where no matter where you at in the world, your African worldview is with you. You see? I'm going to repeat that. No matter where you at in the world, your African worldview is still with you. Your spiritual worldview is still with you. No matter they give you Christianity. What happened when they gave us Christianity? We start bringing down the Holy Ghost. Who the Holy Ghost is? The Holy Ghost is the African spirits, the ancestors. You see? Now you can look at the context. Oh man, the Bible full of lies. But that it was just a tool. A tool. Just a tool. Like a screwdriver. Just because you got a screwdriver don't mean you got to go marry the screwdriver. It's just a screwdriver. Just because it's a screwdriver don't mean you got to go put $100,000 insurance on it. It's not that serious. You see? For the most part. Anybody got any questions they want to ask me, man? I'm here for a minute. Any questions? Hello, Queen of the Crossroads, Carla Henry, Lydia B, Rising Aquarius, how you feel? Yeah, that's how it be sometime, you know what I mean? But I just want to explain to y'all about Roots. Because I want you guys to understand about Roots, you know, and how we work our roots. And the fact that no matter what people tell you about, because I'm all for what's for you. You know what I mean? So if somebody come to me and say, Medicine Man, my spiritual path, I want to check my spiritual path of what's good for me. And some people I tell them, you know, according to their spiritual path, I talk to their ancestors and you know, we do all of that. And then we look and we see that, hey, you need to be practicing your own stuff and you're guided. You have the ability to spiritually guide yourself straight out the door. So a person like that, I would tell them, practice your own spirituality. You tough enough to face the challenges that you need to go through to work your own spirituality. You're intelligent enough to think your way out of certain spiritual problems. Everybody is not on that level. Some people need initiation to bring them up to a level of being spiritually tough enough. You see? And so for that reason, I would recommend initiations to some people. And then there's another reason for initiation. When you're connected to certain spirits within your bloodline and they start to come forth. Y'all already know y'all having them dreams out there. Y'all already know. You have them dreams of spirits coming forth to you. You dream about the voodoo spirits. You dream about spirits you never seen before. You're dreaming about orishas. They're coming to you. in your dreams, giving you messages. You running around seeking. You see? Those are the spirits telling you we're going to work with you if you come to us. Yeah, we'll work with you. But the problem in that is finding somewhere you can go and be taught right and your initiation correct and you won't be hoodwinked, you know what I mean, on that level. But once you find a great teacher, and there are many, many, many great teachers in all these traditions, many of them. And when you find your right teacher, you go for it. You live your dream, you go for it. The ancestors and the spirits will bless you tenfold. Okay? Now let's get to Queen of Crossroads question. I'm getting your question right now. You said, I have a bunch of blue bottles I have collected over the past months, and I was thinking of making a bottle tree. Is the bottle tree for ancestors? A bottle tree can technically be for whatever you want it to be for. You know, this is root working. A bottle is a containment vessel that we commonly use in root working, right? Okay, so it could be used for a plethora of things. You can use your bottle to contain spirits. You can use your bottle to contain blessings. You can use your bottles to capture. It's just different in the techniques, definitely in the techniques of what you're doing. I'm pretty sure you know a few techniques yourself and what to do. But yeah, you can use your bottles for those things. Yeah, you can use your bottle tree for your ancestors. You know, I would do blessings. More or less, I would. It just depends on how many bottles you're putting on the tree. For whatever significant reason you're using a particular numbers of bottles, I would suggest that you use. Generally, if you don't have a particular reason to use any other number, use nine. Use nine for the ancestors, and do your bottle tree. You know, nine bottles on your tree if you could. You know, so don't get the huge 2 liter bottles. You know what I mean? Try to get you some small mini bottles. Like those little tiny Coca-Cola bottles work good. The little tiny ones, glass bottles, and do your thing. I think they'd be good. Consecrate everything great. Yeah, the odd numbers work well. Yeah, nine, nine. That's the number for it. All right, I have any more questions coming up? Let's see. Jonathan said, I was thinking that it's an old grave. The person might have been reincarnated. If it's an old grave and can't help. You lost me in that one, Jonathan. Oh, I see it. I see it. When you use graveyard dirt, do you have to get it from a fresh grave? Listen, um, my disclaimer. I'm not saying that nobody gonna get no dirt. I'm not gonna tell nobody I get no dirt. Let me tell you why. Um, your question itself explains why. You said, let me. I'm not gonna quote you now. I'm gonna. Here's why I stay away from telling people about graveyard dirt. When you use graveyard dirt, you talk about me. Do you have to get it from a fresh grave? You asked me about what I'm doing. Nah, not cool. Now, um, getting it from a fresh grave. Let me tell you something about this. What fresh grave? Okay, what fresh grave? Do do you know that person right there? That fresh grave? Do you know that person? Break it down to me now. This is what I'm telling people how to think like a root worker. You don't know that person. So you go grab some random dirt. That's like me walking in my house and I've been out all day with my family and I walk in my house and here go you sitting at my table making a sandwich. Like, yo, who are you, bro? To that after I put the 44 Magnum in your mouth, but you know, who are you? You know what I mean? Like, don't come here with that. So this is how the spirits would look at it when you approach the grave because you're tampering with something that's, you tampering. So the whole idea of thinking like a root worker is to know where you're going, to know where you're going. And if you need help, now you're saying you need help, right? Let's look at this. Let's look at it. You need help. Question number one, what do you need help for? I'm listening. I got the AirPods in today. You know what I mean? I'm waiting on you, bro. What do you need help for? Because sometimes we think in certain ways. Like, for example, if you need help with finances, why are you going in the cemetery? All right, you want to get rid of some neighbors. Okay. And how you expect to do that with just the dirt? You see? How do you expect your neighbors off with just a handful of dirt from a fresh, random grave? How you gonna do it? You're just gonna grab some dirt from a random grave. First of all, you go grab the dirt, you put it in your pocket. You don't know nothing about the process of extracting dirt from the earth. You see what I'm saying? But you still have to learn how to extract the dirt from the earth. Well, I mean from the earth, the nature, that's cool because we all have that attunement with the natural spiritual elements. But when you go to somebody's grave, man, and you go and disturb that grave, you don't know what you're disturbing. That's the point. You don't know what you're pulling. That's the point. Two, are you protected? That's the point. Then where you going to take that dirt at? You're going to just bring it and drop it on your kitchen counter? That's the point. You see? Or you're going to take that random graveyard dirt from that fresh grave and drop it on your ancestral altar because you read that online. That's the point. You see? That's the whole point. See what I'm saying? Hold on. That's the whole point. You see? So that's what we need to do for the most part. Get those things done the right way. You see? Get it done the right way. Any more questions? So you should use someone you know. We get back to the same question. Do you know? See, the questions you asking is the questions that say themselves that you shouldn't be in the cemetery. You see what I mean? Because the kind of questions you asking, you shouldn't even be in the cemetery. Period. I'm just being real with you. You know? Because people go in the cemetery don't ask those questions at all. You know what I mean? Like, you have to stay away from that and find another method to run your neighbors off. There are plenty of other methods you can use to run your neighbors off. You know what I mean? Sometimes it don't take root work. They being loud, dial 911 shit. And get them a noise ordinance. ordinance. You know what I mean? They're throwing wild parties up there. Hit them with the noise ordinance. You know what I mean? Instead of running around the graveyard, you end up getting yourself in trouble. You end up getting evicted. You go pull the dirt from a fresh grave of somebody who get put out their house before they die. You know what I mean? And you bring it to you for it just ain't gonna work. You gotta know who you talking to. When you go in the graveyard, to pull a spirit, you gotta just know who you talking to. And you don't know off the top of your head, guess, assume, oh yeah, this one there cool, because I like her headstone. Hell no. You mess with her headstone, you find out she done been raped 17 times and stabbed 46 times. You see, and if you don't know, you're not doing your spiritual investigation, you don't know, you pulling somebody for something, and they're looking at you like, oh yeah, you want me to get rid of the neighbors? I'm gonna get rid of all of you motherfuckers. Because I don't want to be fucked with at all. With your petty problems. I got bigger problems. You see? This is why you just don't go grabbing random dirt, because you just don't know. That's why a lot of even spiritualists' lives are messed up, because they're running around not knowing proper techniques, not knowing protection techniques, not knowing not to bring certain graveyard dirts in your house, not knowing that. Or acting like you get served. You see what I'm saying? You get served. Let's see what else we got going on. Thank you, Gina. Thank you, Gina. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. So, what are you guys thinking? What are you guys thinking tonight? I got my water element class coming up, and we're gonna cover so much things in the water element class because water. Your brain is suspended in water. Your body is 85% water. The earth is so much water. The water controls the moons. The water controls um, a lot of ancestors died in the waters, in the oceans and stuff like that, in the sea. So, and you have the rainwater, you got the swamp water. We have hurricane rainwater. I got some hurricane rainwater over there, man. Let me show y'all this jug of hurricane rainwater. I was thirsty the other day. I almost drank some too, man. Yeah, y'all. I got this. Let me see. Right here, man. Hurricane Florence rainwater. Got the date on it and all that, man. And I mean, got it. Man, some good stuff too, man. I mean, it's electrifying. You know what I mean? You drink a little bit of this, it's electrifying. Um, Lydia B, what's up, man? Man, Lydia B, you talk to me every day, girl. You know that? You talk to me every day. You know what I mean? We rolling too. We rolling once again. Um, Girl, listen. After I get offline, young lady, we're going to have. I got like three people I need to talk to. I am talking to. Oh yeah, yeah. The hurricane rainwater is good. Hurricane rainwater is what? Listen here. Don't put it in your cereal though. Don't for real, for real. You have an awesome day if you put it in your cereal. I'm just tripping. Yeah, y'all. I got one more question. Let's see. One more question. How about 9 p.m.? What time is it now? Cause see, you trying to trap me up. So I already know what you're trying to do, Lydia. I, I got you. Listen, I've been a root worker for a minute. I already know. I know what you're trying to do to me tonight. You trying to get me trapped up on this phone for 2 hours. You see, now I put you on blast, though. I'm not put you on blast. Any more questions? My situation is crucial. Hmm. Spiritually intense. Hmm. What should you expect in a ceremony? Find out your Orisha. That's not my subject matter. And respect to all my brothers who be working the Orishas, man. I would say, from what I know, which is nothing about Orisha, and I got to say that, but I know a little something, but I'm not gonna say nothing about Orishas, man. That's in respect for my brothers and sisters that practice Orisha. I would say that you should get official Orisha readings. You know what I mean? Official Orisha reading by an official Orisha priest or priestess. Have the reading done so you can find out. And when you get the reading done for your Orisha, make sure that you just don't get a reading done by somebody and then go to somebody else to have the ceremony. Make sure that when you go to meet that person, that if you get the reading from that person would be the one you want to get your ceremony with. Now let me tell you why. Because if you go to one Babalawo and that Babalawo tell you you're a child of Ogun, Ogun has your head, your Ori. And then you go to another Babalawo who he's going to do your reading over. And he will not honor the reading of the first Babalawo. It just doesn't work like that. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, when you go get your reading, make sure that the people that you get your reading from, that you intend, if you make the decision, they're the type of people that you would want to have your ceremony with. That way your reading sticks with you. And you don't have to try to take that reading and say to another Babalawo that, well, Babalawo so and so told me Ogun was my head. And then he was like, nah. And they might be like, yeah, man, yeah. So for the most part, that's what we want to do. That's what we want to do for the most part is make sure that you get the official reading. Don't get no tarot card reading into that and have people telling you because that tarot card reader don't know a thing about about the inside workings with Orishas or even what an Orisha is unless they're initiated. Okay? So you only want to deal with initiated people with that. Good ones. Any more questions? All right. So I have one reading I have to do. After I finish my reading, I'm going to call. I need to speak with. Um, let's see. Where are you? Hey, Miss Christian Law. How you doing? I'm looking for. I'm looking for. Let me see. Where is she? Hold on. Let me see. I'm looking for. All right. Yeah. Peace, Kinaz. Yeah, man. I'm trying to do this thing, man. Keep it right. I'm looking for the young lady who hit me. The black man at the crossroad myth is it true in hoodoo? Nah, man. I mean, every area got their own little myths and stories, man. Y'all remember in South Carolina they had the myth of the lizard man? That was crazy, right? Remember when they had the lizard man and people say that? Nah, I swear, man, when I was coming up, man, lizard man was real in South Carolina. Ain't all the old people believed in it, and when the lizard man came out, the old people backed it up with the story like, yo, we was telling y'all a long time ago, man, there were things that come down from in the planet and the earth and just stay out of certain, don't go in them woods because you ain't got to worry about no wolf or nothing like that. You got to worry about the lizards, the human lizards. So our people actually did actually believe in that. So when the lizard man thing happened in South Carolina years ago, I think about 20 years ago, when that happened in South Carolina, man, people took it seriously real. Seriously real, seriously real. Gina Best, please email me. Like, don't. I would like for you not to put your information inside the inside my chat, Miss Gina. Email me at medicinemale21 at Gmail. Well, it just depends on Kenaz. It just depends on where you at in the South. You know what I mean? Like some people work with Crossroads Spirit, some people don't. I think from what I'm looking at, for what you're saying, it reminds me of something more of the New Orleans type stuff. You know what I mean? Like 'cause they work a lot with the Crossroads Spirits because it's kind of heavily infused with Haitian voodoo. And you know what I mean? Heavily infused with Haitian voodoo. Definitely. All right, Capricorn, 305 Capricorn. You could definitely hit me up. You already know. Hit me up and we'll talk about that reading for you. But in the meantime, you see, Purple Love 77, always good to see you too. All right, Gina. Just email me, Gina. Email me at medicinemale21. I mean, if you're not a spammer or anything, just email me. Yeah, email me because I don't want your business on my you know what I mean? Right. Okay? Yeah, email me. Please email me. and I'll see what I mean. I definitely can help you out. No problem with that. I can help you out, even with the help with the media coverage. I can help you out. But I'm kind of like, doing it in the feeds is, I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. It's just kind of like repetitive, you know. You give it to me and you can do a show, and we can talk about it. You know what I mean? For real, we can put it out there for you. Take care of it, official. But in the meantime, I got to go. I got a lot of messages coming in, a lot of people calling me. So I got to go. So I got a lot of people to talk to, a lot of things to do. So y'all be good. All right. And I wanted to explain some things about the roots. We kind of got off topic, but roots, working your roots, man. When you work in Ifa, if it's in your bloodline, you work in your roots. When you work in Haitian Voodoo, when you work in Haitian Voodoo, if it's in your roots, that is your roots. If you work in Palome, if it's in your bloodline, then you work in your roots. You know what I mean? That's what hoodoo is about, working your roots. So whatever is in your roots, which you raise up with, you work it. We too focus on giving things names. Well, this is this, this is that, this is that, and everybody with the funny names and who knew got all the funny names and all that there ain't know how to work shit. You see what I'm saying? So it's more important to understand how to work it physically than verbally. You know what I mean? Peace. Y'all know the drill. Love y'all. Be back.